Good day, everyone. Today, we will tackle about the ICT in various content areas. So first is the 21st century literacy skills. So under the 21st century skills is the digital literacy skills. Digital literacy refers to the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that enable individuals to navigate, understand, and engage with the digital world safely and effectively. So it involves understanding and applying concepts like information and communication technologies or the ICT. Also, it navigates digital platforms, assessing information credibility, protecting online privacy, and using digital tools ethically and responsibly. Then, in essence, is a crucial skill for participation in today's tech-driven world, enabling individuals to succeed in their work, education, and society. So under the digital literacy skills is the media. The term media, which is the plural of medium, refers to the communication channels through which we disseminate news, music, movies, education, promotional messages, and other data. So these communication outlets serve to inform, educate, and entertain the public by delivering data and content across local, national, and international scopes. Examples of media is the broadcast media, just like the television, radio, and online streaming services. Another example is the print media. So print media includes newspapers, magazines, and books. And most especially is the digital media, just like the websites, the social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, and also mobile applications and other internet-based content. Next is the information. So information is the output that results from analyzing or the contextualizing, structuring, interpreting, or in other ways is processing data. So the next is the ICT literacy. So ICT literacy encompasses a range of skills that enable individuals to navigate the digital landscape effectively. So this information and communications technology refers to a broad range of technologies that facilitate the creation, the processes, transmission, and storage of information. It encompasses various communication devices such as computers, cell phones, the internet, and telecommunication networks, as well as the services like video conferencing and distance learning. Essentially, the ICT integrates computing and telecommunication technologies to enhance how information is accessed and exchanged.
Next is the instructional design models. First is the Ganyan 9 events. In Ganyan 9 events of instruction is a systematic approach to teaching that outlines the sequence of events that must occur for effective learning. The events are designed to enhance the learning process and promote effective instruction. Ganyan 9's events of instruction. It is a structured approach to teaching that helps creative, effective learning experiences. The first one is gaining the attention of the students. It captures learners' interest to prepare them to focus on the lesson. These can be done by using surprising facts, questions, or engaging visuals. Next is informing the learner of the objectives. Clearly tell learners what they will learn or be able to do by the end of the instruction, setting clear expectations. The third one is stimulating recall of prior learning. It helps learners remember what they already know about the topic, so they can connect new information to existing knowledge. Fourth is the presenting the content. This provides the new information in an organized way, using lectures, demonstrations, or multimedia to make it clear. Fifth is providing learning guidance. Support learners with explanations, examples, or hints to help them understand and remember the content. Sixth is eliciting the performance. Have learners try out or practice what they've learned to reinforce their skills or knowledge. Seventh, providing feedback. Give learners timely and specific feedback on their performance to guide improvement. 8. Assessing the performance. Test or evaluate learners to see if they have achieved the learning objectives. 9. And lastly is enhancing retention and transfers. It helps learners apply the knowledge or skills in different contexts to ensure long-term retention and practice use. This step-by-step model ensures learners stay engaged and effectively absorb and apply knowledge throughout the instructional process.
The second one is Bloom's revised taxonomy. It is one of many tools that faculty can use to create effective and meaningful instruction.
It is created originally by Benjamin Bloom and later revised by Anderson and Krathwohl in 2001. Categorizes learning objectives into 6 cognitive skills level. First is creating, evaluating, analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering. It helps instructional designers clearly define learning goals and align activities accordingly, ranging from simple recall to complex creation.
The third one is ADDIE. The ADDIE model is a generic process traditionally used by instructional designers and training developers.
These are the 5-phase instructional design process consisting of analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. It provides a systematic approach to creating effective instructional materials and training programs. It is widely used in both educational and corporate training settings.
The fourth one is Merrill's Principles of Instruction. It is a set of guidelines that aim to create effective and learner-centered instructional experiences. These principles are based on research in cognitive, psychology, and instructional design, and they focus on maximizing knowledge from learning experiences.
It is developed by David Merrill. This model focuses on task-centered instruction with principles that effective learning is promoted when learners are engaged in solving real-world problems. These are the learning is promoted when first is problem-centered. Learners are engaged in solving real-world problems. Second is activation. Existing knowledge is activated as a foundation for new knowledge. Third one is demonstration. New knowledge is demonstrated to the learners. Fourth one is application. New knowledge is applied by the learners. Fifth one is integration. New knowledge is integrated into the learner's world. Emphasizes combining essential instructional elements to optimize learning effectiveness. This captures the core elements of each model in instructional design used widely for planning and delivering education and training.
So now let's proceed to technology-enhanced teaching lesson exemplars. Technology-enhanced teaching lessons are examples of teaching methods that use digital tools like computers or the internet to make learning more interesting and effective. This includes activities where students learn by doing lessons, where students study at home and discuss in class with the help of technology. Now, these are the overview of technology-enhanced teaching methods. First is active learning. Students learn by doing activities, not just listening. Second is flipped teaching. Students study lessons at home and use class time for discussion or practice. Next is a collaborative learning. Students work together, often using technology to solve problems or share ideas. The fourth one is a student-created content. Students make their own projects or videos or presentation to show what they learn. And the last one is personal learning networks. Students and teachers connect with people online to learn and share their knowledge.
Next is the ICT and conventional learning materials to enhance teaching and learning. The first one is digital learning resources. Digital learning resources refer to any materials or tools that support the learning process in a digital format. So digital learning resources, these are materials or tools available in digital formats
that help support teaching and learning. Example of this is educational videos like sa YouTube Edo, online quizzes, and what we commonly use is the Canva. In Canva, we can easily collaborate with our classmate online or Google Classroom where instructors share lecture notes, assignments, and quizzes. So in Google Classroom, our teacher can easily send an assignment and it will notify us, and we can also pass our assignment through private comment or attached file. We also have the Google Docs and SurveyMonkey. So Google Docs is an online word processor and part of the free web-based Google Docs editor suite offered by Google. So it allows user to create and edit documents online. It also offers features like automatic saving, version history, commenting, and integration with other Google Workspace tools, making it ideal for both personal and professional use. It helps streamline teamwork, improve productivity, reduce the need for traditional file sharing and desktop-based word processing software. So Google Docs and Google Classroom are connected. Just what I've said earlier, in Google Classroom, teacher can create assignments that include Google Docs files, view, comment, and grade students' docs directly within Classroom. And by that, students can also open, edit, and submit Google Docs assignments through Classroom. This connectivity makes it easy to manage, share, and assess students' work efficiently in a digital classroom environment. So the next is SurveyMonkey. So SurveyMonkey is an online survey software that helps you to create and run professional online surveys. It is very powerful and a well-known online application. So SurveyMonkey is all about creating, distributing, and analyzing online surveys to collect feedback and data. It helps individuals like those who have businesses and organizations make informed decisions by providing easy-to-use tools, customizable templates, and powerful analytics to understand responses and trends. So you can easily use SurveyMonkey by searching their web. Once you've searched their web, you can create a free account or log in into your existing one. SurveyMonkey provides a user-friendly interface that allows you to design surveys, distribute them, and analyze responses all online. So the next one is conventional learning. It refers to a traditional, instructor-centered education, focuses on face-to-face, teacher-led instruction, using traditional tools like blackboards, textbooks, and lectures to teach a large group of students. In this is the teacher is the main source of information and students mostly listen, take notes, and try to absorb what is taught. The learning is usually organized with a set curriculum, meaning there's a planned order of topics to cover. Next is the flip cards. A flip chart is a stationary item consisting of a pad of large paper sheets. It is typically fixed to the upper edge of a whiteboard or supported on a tripod or four-leg easel. Do you remember when you were still in elementary? The wooden stand that your teacher used to flip the materials in the discussion, the paper sheets they flip through the pages to show different ideas. It is also a handy and visual way to communicate in classroom. The last one is realia. The term realia comes from the Latin adjective realis, meaning real or actual. Realia are real. These are objects that teachers bring into the classroom to help students understand lessons better. Instead of the teacher just talking about something or showing pictures, the teacher uses actual things like fruits, clothes, tools, or money to make the lesson more interesting and easier to remember. So using real objects helps students connect what they learn to the real world.
Distance learning means learning from home using a computer instead of going to school. There are two types of online distance learning, which is asynchronous and synchronous. Asynchronous online learning means you can study anytime you want, you can watch videos, read lessons, and do your homework when it's best for you during the day, in the evening, or even on the weekend. You don't have to be online at the same time as your teacher or classmates. Synchronous online learning means you learn with your teacher and classmate at the same time. Everyone joins a live video class like a Zoom call where the teacher teaches, asks questions, and you can answer and talk with others. Both types let you learn from home, just in different ways.
So now let's proceed to technology tools in a collaborative classroom environment. First is Google Docs in Google Workspace. Google Docs in Google Workspace is an online tool where you can write, edit, and share documents. It's like Microsoft Word, but it works on the internet. The special thing about Google Docs is that many people can work on the same document at the same time, and it automatically saves your work in Google Drive. The second is the Google Docs is part of Google Workspace. It becomes with tools like Docs for writing, Sheets for spreadsheets, and Slides for presentations. These tools let students work together at the same time, give feedback, and do group projects more easily. Is Padlet. Padlet is like an online bulletin board where students can post notes, pictures, links, and videos. It helps in brainstorming and sharing ideas in a fun and visual way. Next is Trello. Trello is a tool that helps students manage groups, projects. It lets them organize tasks, see their progress, and divide responsibilities clearly so everyone knows what to do and when to do it. Zoom or Microsoft Teams are apps for online meetings. They allow students to join visual classes, have discussions, and work together even if they are not in the same place. Edmodo and Schoology are online learning tools that help teachers, students, and parents stay connected. Teacher can post lessons, give quizzes, and assign homework. Students can turn in their work and ask questions. Parents can see their child's progress and messages from teachers. Both platforms make learning and communication easier inside and outside the classroom.
So now, let's proceed to relevance and appropriateness in the use of technology in teaching and learning. So we have the principles in selecting instructional materials. We have the appropriateness. In the appropriateness, we have the alignment with curriculum, student-centered, engaging and motivating, accuracy and authenticity, and logical structure. So in the alignment with curriculum, for example, is the lesson is about fraction, the material should include fraction activities not unrelated with math topics. Next is the student-centered. For example of this is interactive math games where students solve problems themselves rather than just listening to lectures. The third one is engaging and motivating. For example, is using a short animated video to introduce a science concept. The next one is accuracy and authenticity. For example, is a history book that provides true events, dates, and sources instead of myth or errors. The last is logical structure. So the example of this is a lesson plan that starts with simple examples, then move to more complex activities. So next is principle in selecting instructional materials and feasibility. So we have resource availability, teacher capacity, technical requirements, logical constraints, and adaptability. So resource availability, for example, is choosing textbook that are already provided by the school instead of requiring expensive books that students may not afford. Second is teacher capacity. A teacher trained in using interactive simulation can integrate them in lesson, while a teacher with limited ICT training might rely on charts and flashcards. The next is technical requirements. For example, is a PowerPoint lesson can be feasible in the classroom that has electricity, a projector, and a computer. So the next is logical constraints. For example, is instead of requiring students to buy art supplies that are hard to find, the teacher uses recycled materials available in the community. So the last is adaptability. For example, is a storybook can be used to teach reading comprehension in grade 3 and also adapted for values integration in grade 5. So the principles in selecting instructional materials, appropriateness, the target learners and instructions, considerations for target learners. So the first is developmental level. Developmental level ensures content and activities are age appropriate and suitable for the learner's cognitive, emotional, and social development. For example, is teaching fractions elementary student might use pizza slices while high schooler handle algebraic manipulation. The second is prior knowledge. Instruction should build upon what students already know and provide necessary scaffolding for a new concept. So, for example, in science, knowing basic concepts like photosynthesis helps when learning about ecosystem. The third one is cultural background. Materials and examples should be culturally relevant and representative of the learner's diverse perspective. So, for example, of the cultural background is using local festivals or foods in math problems can connect learning to students' lives in the Philippines, like festival or local markets. So let's proceed to abilities. So abilities is learning targets and assessments should be achievable within the range of the learner's abilities. So for example is providing extra support or challenges for students with different learning speeds or styles. The next is curriculum alignment. Instruction must be aligned with the curriculum, learning competencies, and broader educational objectives. For example, is teaching topics like climate change, um, aligning with science curriculum activities. Next is learning targets. Use clear, measurable, and specific learning targets written in student-friendly language to guide learning and assessment. So for example is a target might be student can describe the water cycle. Next is content accuracy. Ensure information is accurate and up to date. For example, is science facts about climate change should reflect current research. Next is appropriate format. So select instructional materials and assessment formats that are suitable for the subject matter and learning goals. For example, is using colorful flashcards for vocabulary instead of Dean's text for grade 2. The next is literacy and technical quality. Materials should have good literacy and technical quality. For example is choosing a science book with correct grammar, clear images, and update facts. So the last is teacher's rule. Teachers should use their discretion and scope of actions to select the design measures that are appropriate for the specific learning context.
So for example of this is teacher uses a documentary video but still guides the discussion with questions.
Authenticity. Key aspect of the principle of authenticity. First is accuracy. The information should always be correct. For example, if a lesson says that dog can fly, that is not true. But if it says dogs have four legs, that is correct. Second is up-to-date information. The lesson should be updated. For example, if a book says you are in grade 3 but you are already in grade 5, then the book is outdated. Materials should show what is true right now. Third is dependability. The information should come from a trusted source. For example, your teacher or a school book is dependable, but a story you just heard from a stranger might not be true. In short, authenticity means the information we learn must be true, updated, and trustworthy so that students can understand the lesson better. Interest. Learning material should be fun and make students curious. They should motivate students to learn more and keep their attention. For example, a lesson with colorful pictures, short videos, or games is more exciting than a plain text with no pictures. Teachers can also use different activities like group work, drawing, or storytelling so students don't get bored. When lessons are interesting, students enjoy learning and understand better. In short, material should make students curious, motivated, and engaged in learning. Cost economy. When teachers choose learning materials, they need to think about the cost. The key consideration is the first one is cost effectiveness. Materials should not be too expensive. For example, instead of buying costly storybooks, teacher can use free online stories or make simple worksheets that teach the same lesson. Second is resource alignment. The materials should fit within the school budget. For example, if the school has only a small amount of money, teachers should pick materials that the school can afford instead of choosing very expensive one. The third is reusability and durability. Materials should last long and be used many times. For example, laminated flashcards or charts can be used for different classes for years. Instead of printing new one again and again, this saves money and is more practical. The third is free and low cost option. Teachers would try to use free or cheap material for learning. For example, instead of buying an expensive book, they can use free online worksheets or free educational videos. The fifth is cost-benefit analysis. When choosing between two materials, teachers should think about which one gives more learning benefits for the price. For example, if two books teach the same lesson but one is cheaper, it's smarter to buy the cheaper one. The sixth is responsible technology use. Teachers should use technology in a careful way. For example, if the school buys tablet, they should be used for many years and for different lessons, so the money spent is worth it. The seventh is comparison to similar media. If one is too expensive, teachers can look for another option that works just as well but costs less. For example, instead of buying a costly video lesson, teachers can use a free YouTube educational video that teaches the same topic. Organization and balance. Learning materials should be neat and easy to follow. The information should be arranged in the right order so students can understand step by step. For example, in math, you first learn addition before multiplication because it's easier to follow that way. The material should also be balanced, meaning they explain the topic fairly without leaving out important parts. Everything should have a clear purpose so students know what they are learning and why is it matter.